Welcome to another post-game media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. The Indiana baseball team accomplished a feat that has eluded them since the days of Kyle Schwarber and Joey DeNato. They won the opening game of the Big Ten tournament today, edging out 7-seeded Illinois by a score of 4-3. Catcher Peter Serruto managed a pitching staff day behind the plate and led the Hoosier hitters with the bat. Freshman pitcher Evan Whiteaker held on to the lead through 4.1 innings of work. IUBase.com's Cassady Palmer joined the media that spoke with Serruto, Whiteaker, and head coach Jeff Mercer following the game.
I guess both of you guys, tell me about the win. I mean, pretty exciting. Things came down to the wire right then. A close game, all game long. I mean, kind of I want to call it Johnny Holstaff effort on pitching, but somewhat to that extent. So what are your impressions after that win?
Yeah, that's kind of what we had in mind going into this. It was going to be a dogfight. We're going to have to play really clean defense. We're going to have to have some timely hitting. But more importantly, we're just going to have to execute on the mound, and that's exactly what we did. And from my point of view as a catcher, it was really, really awesome to see some of the young guys really step up. This man right here, Evan Whiteaker, did an unbelievable job, gave us such a great shot to compete and win down the stretch of that game. And then we got an unbelievable start by Ben Seiler, that veteran guy, just doing what he does best.
I think the way that we pitched it really brought it all in for us. And obviously, I have unbelievable confidence in our offense, no matter what is happening. If we're down 5 or if we're up 2, I know they're gonna go out and do their thing. So I think us pitching on the mound brought it all together for us today.
And Evan, with that 6th inning, the 3 Ks look in, the 8th inning, getting through that in just 4 pitches, what adjustments have you made recently to kind of bounce back from a few rough outings, and kind of what have you been working on there?
So I've been working a lot with Coach Glenn over the last month and a half, 6 weeks, and Coach Mercer too, to get back to a lot of mechanical adjustments, and obviously a lot of it is a mental adjustment too. So I've had a couple sit-down talks with Mercer, and those have definitely helped a lot, along with Coach Glenn really dialing in my mechanics a lot too. That helped a lot.
Pete, what did you say to Reisdorf in the 9th to kind of settle him in right at the end?
Yeah, he kind of just needed to take a breath there. Like, that's the game. It's very easy for a young kid to get sped up in a situation like that, and you just got to tip your cap to him. He hasn't been in that type of environment yet in a tournament setting, and he was able to be calm, cool, and collected, and just execute his pitches, and that's exactly what he did. Against the better part of their lineup right there. So really impressive by him, and he's been so good for us down the stretch of the season.
So, Coach, was the plan coming into it to try to run up those pitch counts a bit?
Yeah.
Were you pleased with those approaches?
Yeah, we really did. He was terrific today. He pitched us differently than he pitched us the first time. And you're in a much bigger ballpark, and so Pine's ball that he hammers to left is a home run at most ballparks. So you knew you were going to have to really compete with 2 strikes, and you were going to have to extend at bats as much as you could and try to get him out of there. He was excellent, and we did that. I think after the 2nd inning, I looked up. He was already at 35 pitches after the 2nd inning, and then we were able to just add and add and add, and you get him out of there in the 5th or so, and now you get a chance. But you tip your cap to that kid because he was excellent. The splitter was really good. He was throwing fastballs in, splitter away, and then landing a breaking ball. I mean, that's a really tough combination. He's 92, 94, and so he was excellent. But yeah, we knew we had to get the pitch count up. We knew we had to extend. We knew we had to put balls in play. You have to make them play defense. We had to be good on the bases, and we had to be intelligent and be able to run bases well. Just knowing that every run is going to be pivotal in those games, in those situations. So yeah, that was the game plan, and we executed it really well. We left some guys on base, had opportunities there. We had a miscommunication and a miscue on one play to lead off an inning, and that's my fault. But for the most part, we competed well, and that's how it's going to be in those games.
The thing that stood out to me, Coach, was that pitching and the effort that you got, especially with the new format of this tournament, where you get that day off tomorrow. When you lose that game, you play tomorrow. You win that game, you give that staff an extra day.
Yeah.
Can you speak to just how huge it is a win in that format?
Well, this is my 3rd time coming to the Big Ten tournament, and this is the first time I've won the first game. So it's hard to do. It's hard to do. And we went for it last weekend. We tried to win the regular season, and so we threw all of our main guys. And I know there's a lot of guys that maybe weren't in the same position. They were able to hold a guy or have reduced pitch counts, and we didn't. And so we knew coming into this that we were behind it, and it was going to be tough because Illinois had a bye weekend the last weekend, so they were going to be fresh on the mound and ready to go, and so we were going to be reliant on those young guys, and so credit to Coach Glant and to Denton Sagerman for working behind the scenes to kind of redesign Evan Whiteaker, gave him a cutter and changed some things in his delivery, and I'm always good at kind of bringing the guy in and encouraging him, but busting his chops, right? Like he's capable of being excellent, and today he was. And so we knew we were going to have to lean on those guys. So Dustin's been working with those guys really for today in mind. That's why I told him after the game. So all those hours and hours working with Phillips and with Whiteaker to get prepared for the tournament run, pays its dividends today. And so it was the culmination of a lot of hard work, and then culmination of terrific outings and really competitive, just gumption from those guys to go in and to do that, because there was nobody else. Like, Reisdorf, we had Yoho potentially up for the 8th if we got to the 8th. So we kind of thought Yoho 8 and Reisdorf 9th, but those guys also threw considerable amounts last weekend. They're just on their first day where they're potentially up. So we had to get to the 7th with the lead to go to Yoho and Reisdorf. Well, then Whitaker's rolling and executes. I think the 7th area, like you said, like 5 or 7 pitches, and so then we go to the 8th with him, and we got a little bit greedy there in the 9th, and we had Reisdorf. Ready to get throwing. We just didn't want to have to use him if we didn't have to. But once they got guys on base and he was 2-0, it was like, get him hot. And then once he's hot, then he's got to go in the game. There's no point in not doing that. And thankfully we did. So to think about, Ben Seiler giving us one time through the lineup, which was what we designed to do, and then to have 3 freshmen essentially go, what was it, 7 innings, 6 innings, 1 earned run with 3 freshmen. I mean, you can't ask for any more from young guys in a tournament setting against a really good team who was fully rested on the mound. So I'm very, very proud.
Any initial thoughts for Thursday with your pitching staff, especially given what you just said?
Yeah, I would say probably Sennard. I would say we'll probably go Sennard, and then Yoho's up, Foley's up, and then I would say Reisdorf 50-50 if we really have to have him, but we really shouldn't have to with those 3 guys being up. We really shouldn't have to. We'll probably push Reisdorf back to the following game start, and then kind of start the whole thing back over again, and kind of go from there. But yeah, probably Sennard, and the nice thing will be is like he'll be on a full week's rest going into that, which is great, and when you're making the plan last week, you realize that you're putting yourself in a really disadvantageous position. Knowing that today is going to be tough, but if you can get past today, then you get everything lined back up, and then it's anybody's ball game. Right now we're able to really compete, kind of mano a mano a little bit, and we may get our butt whipped, but at least we'll go out there and feel like it's more of a typical game where we can get 6 or 7 from a starter. But at the same point, I think I looked at it last night. We're 4th in the league in ERA, and we have essentially 1 starter. So we've Tampa Bay raised it the whole year and put it together. Like today was more normal than abnormal. It's just with different guys than we typically do it with.
And Coach, talking about a couple of young guys who don't play like they're young guys. In that 4th inning, Pine and Tibbetts had a beautiful connection, and then one that that should have been impossible. That was this close.
Yeah.
How important has it been having those 2 guys on the corners?
Yeah, we're incredibly fortunate to have, Gold Glove caliber defenders at 1st and 3rd. I don't know if I've ever coached a better first baseman than Brock Tibbetts, and Josh Pine. He's right there with them as far as the best defensive players I've ever coached. And Brock Tibbetts he saves so many runs. He is a Gold Glove caliber player, and whether he wins it or he doesn't, I know what I'm watching every single day, and I'm glad today people get to see a little bit of. He makes that play look easy. That's an incredible play. And then the second one was even a more difficult pick. If that ball goes up the line, the runner's on 3rd base, and it's a different ball game. So, to have the confidence in those guys, Coach Simmons does a great job with them defensively. We've recruited really good athletes, and then those guys have played essentially every game since their freshman year. So those guys are, 110, 120 games in. I don't know that there's very many sophomores that are 110 or 120 games in. So we're really fortunate to have those guys, and you see why there when you go to a natural surface. So we play on turf, and you go to a natural surface to make those kind of plays is terrific.
Indiana will be back in action on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time against 3-seeded Iowa in a winner's bracket game. Cassady Palmer will continue to have coverage on site from Charles Schwab Field. See you at the BART.